I mean, I've had some really what a lot of people would think are really embarrassing moments, in my life that uh could have really crushed me. I mean, I was on stage in front of how many ever people, and in a silent audience. I have an ostomy bag, part of the whole bathroom situation we were talking about earlier. And in a silent audience, in the deepest moment of what it was supposed to be a motivational speech, I farted for 30 seconds straight. And you want to talk about embarrassing? That was embarrassing, but but in hindsight, it makes for a incredible story to tell later, and the crowd thought it was probably better than the speech. I mean, that was perfect.
Life rewired. I was broken, now I'm whole. Wrote new chapters for my soul. Not the end, just re-inspired. This is me. My life rewired.
Well, it's a great day to have a great day, and welcome to another exciting episode of Life Rewired. You're going to be very inspired with the person that I have on the program today. Here's a real quick clip.
I just learned that apparently if you don't look handicapped enough, you are not allowed to park in handicapped parking. I pull into a handicapped parking spot for lunch. A guy walking by turns back and says to me, "Hey, there's people that actually need those spots." Now, I don't know how to respond, so I just give him a classic, "Yep." He then stops, turns, and goes, "I'm serious." I point to my wheelchair that is now dangling bedside by a crane, and I say, "Well, I'm paralyzed, so does that count?" He then says in disgust, "There are real handicapped people that actually need that spot." I hit him with the first thing that comes to mind, and I say, "Yeah, yes, sir, I can see that there are real handicapped people. And not to worry, I am not parking here. I just pulled in to save this spot for you."
Welcome to the program, Mike.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so just scrolling through Facebook one day, and across your feed comes that exciting video that I just showed about the lady that was having an argument with you over if you were paralyzed or not.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, that is amazing that in the year that we're living in, we still have those kind of, what would you call it, bias or ignorance?
I don't know what
Probably
you
ignorance.
uh, uh, in hindsight, it's one of those things when it happens to you, you're like, what in the world is going on? But then in hindsight, I just call them funny hiccups in the road that make for a great story later.
True. I had something very similar to that happen to me. I had reconstructive surgery in my foot one year, and my wife was parking in a handicapped spot because I have to use a scooter because you can't walk on your foot when you have surgery on it.
Sure.
And this guy was having such a fit because we parked there. And whenever I opened the door and I held out the handicap placard and I got out my crutches, he just about his head dropped. Which wasn't the case with you and this lady, though. You really could not convince her.
No, it was yeah, I wasn't winning that one, that's for sure. So I gave up and I gave her the parking spot. I said, "Yeah, you know what? I saved it for you instead."
Hey, sometimes the brain is more handicapped than what we can imagine.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah. So, Mike, share with us your story. I know, just speaking with you off camera, that you were in a motocross. So, take us back to that day when your life was completely changed.
So, kind of a backstory of me is growing up when I was just a young kid. I was the kid that struck out in t-ball, got tangled in the soccer net, ran the wrong way down the football field. So my parents were like, "You know what? Traditional sports are not your thing." So they decided to put me on a dirt bike instead, which it went well for 18 no 15 years, I guess it would have been. I got on my first dirt bike. Oh no, 13 years. See, I don't do math either. I'm not good at that either. Got on my first dirt bike when I was 5, and then started racing, and quickly as a kid it became a dream to be a professional dirt bike racer. I wanted to, I saw all the big professionals making millions of dollars, signing autographs, being swarmed by fans and all that, and that became my passion. And I lived, breathed, slept, ate nothing but dirt bike racing. And so we went around the country, as a family, and went racing every weekend. And at the age of 18, on August 27, 2006, I went to a local race, and I went by myself. My parents had gone to every race before. I'd never gone to a race by myself, but I went by myself with my best friend. And we rode together. We got there. Everything was going great. It was just, I mean, everything was phenomenal. It was a perfect day. Then some weird things started happening. And in hindsight, I look back, I'm like, maybe those were signs. Maybe this just wasn't my day to be riding the dirt bike. But my best friend that went with me was actually in the same race as I was. And we took off. The race started. He was in first place. I was in second place. And I was behind him. And the track was, it had rained the night before. And so there was just mud and everything else. And he was just covering me in it. So I decided that I was going to try and make a last minute pass for the lead, and I cut to the inside. And as we took off a jump together, we both collided and we both ended up crashing. And the story goes, I didn't lose consciousness. I was alert through the whole thing, but tumbling and all that, I didn't know exactly what happened. But
Yeah.
apparently I basically landed on my butt, which compressed my back and folded over backwards.
Ooh.
And broke my T5, T6, and paralyzed me from the chest down. He fortunately walked away with some bruises and all that kind of stuff. But that started this whole journey.
Wow. So once you had that crash, did you know immediately something was wrong?
So that's the weird part is especially when it comes to like dirt
Hmm.
bike racing, I didn't know what paralysis was, but I knew of the consequences that come with, like an extreme sport of some sort. I knew, not very often, but people get paralyzed and they can't walk. And, there have been people killed doing it over time and things like that. But those kind of things are way distant in the back of your mind. But as soon as I stopped kind of tumbling and sort of not came conscious, but just kind of gathered my bearings and I was laying there, I knew exactly what had happened. And I knew that I was paralyzed like right then and
Wow.
there. The weirdest part about it is that laying there, I felt just an overwhelming like sense of peace, and I'm not going to say happiness necessarily, but just a calmness that I can honestly say to this day I don't think I've ever felt that before.
Wow.
It was a really, really strange, but I don't know it sounds cheesy to say, but kind of a moving
Hmm.
experience almost. And I just knew that this was the end of my dirt bike racing. This was the end of that dream. But I just, something deep down told me, hey, this is the beginning of something else, and um it was a really wild, wild experience, that's for sure.
Yeah. I have found in my journey, a lot of people that I talk to, they either have the why me minute or they have the okay, now what? Which category did you fall into?
I would say, I mean, I think I'd like to think 95% of the time it's, hey, now what? But I think I've found, just with all the different amazing people that I've met over the years, and, different programs and therapy and all that kind of stuff, you run into all sorts of people. And I think we all have those why me
Yeah.
moments, even if you're not, if there's no traumatic injury, just in day-to-day life, just for a normal everyday person, there's a lot of things that people think, like, why me?
Mhm.
So I think we all kind of have those moments from time to time. I think just making sure that you limit those and limit your time asking that, and then moving on from it is what's important. So I've had those times and I've had those moments, and yeah, I think it's just one of those things. You can't really do much about it. You just got to move on and do the best you can, and find another route.
Yeah. What does a hard day look like for you that people don't see on social media?
Oh, well, I'm going to start with that. I have two twin 2-year-old
Oh
girls.
wow.
And that right there, for anybody, that
That's a
that
hard
that's
day.
a hard day. No, yes, no, they are the joy of my life, that's for sure. They have brought more joy to me probably than anything in the world, for sure. But um I think just the little things that people don't realize, and I was guilty of this too, with, when I associate paralysis with you can't walk. And, that's it. And that's kind of what I thought before I became paralyzed. But you don't realize all the other things that go with it. For instance, in my situation, I'm T5, T6. So it's basically the middle of my chest down. so I don't really have good use of my abs. So like the first time when I sat up for the first time, went to eat in the hospital right after my injury, I face planted face
Oh,
first
wow.
into the lunch tray in front of the cafeteria, and I'm like, what in the world is
Yeah.
going on? And I didn't realize, I didn't have control of that. And then obviously your bathroom functions and all that kind of stuff. You don't ever think about that kind of
Right.
thing. But that's a whole nother journey and struggle that just a simple, normally, hey, I'm gonna whip into this gas station and go pee real quick. That's a little more
Right.
daunting now.
You the whole
That's
process.
quite a process. And there's a lot of things that um probably I think I'm probably guilty of saying, I don't know if I can do that because I'm paralyzed. And then my wife will remind me. She's extremely supportive, but she's also extremely good at reminding me of, I'll say, I don't know if I can make dinner tonight, and she says that you're paralyzed. You still know how to cook cereal or whatever you're making, you can still do
Yeah.
that. So she likes to push me and remind me that there are still a lot I can do. So that's good.
They have a way of grounding us, don't they?
Ab- Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And kind of going back to what we were talking about, the why me thing.
Hmm.
Um, she does a really good job of, if I kind of start feeling sorry for myself or having a rough day or something like that, she reminds me of um, just all the good things that are going. Yeah, you may be struggling with this or that, but so I actually got paralyzed on August 27th, 2006, and then we got married on August 27th, 2016, which was 10 years exactly to the day.
Wow.
And I chose that because to me it marked a celebration of that day in the sense of I met her after I was paralyzed. So she's never seen me walk a day in my life or take a step or anything like that. And I don't think I would have put myself in the opportunities I would have if I was walking to be able to meet her, or would I have had the courage to go meet her,
Mm. Yeah.
and talk to her and things like that. So I kind of attribute this to meeting her, which has led to so many great things, our kids and everything else. So um, what could be considered by some the worst, most tragic day of my life, we turned it into one of the greatest days of my life. So we celebrate that, and she kind of reminds me of that. She says, "Hey, we wouldn't have met," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're right, you're right." Now I'm not gonna lie, there might be a few days that I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, we wouldn't have met." Now
That's a typical man response, really.
I didn't say that. Hopefully, that's right, that's right. Hopefully, she didn't watch this far into the podcast, right?
No one watches these, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to ask you a question that you probably have never been asked, and hopefully I'm the first one to ever ask you.
Okay.
What strength did the paralysis bring you?
You're right. That is a fantastic question. Being honest, as an 18-year-old kid, I was kind of just a punk kid, that thing kind of had to be my way, and I wasn't motivated. And one thing that I think it's brought to me is the ability to adapt.
Mm.
And I don't necessarily mean just in my situation. It just in everyday life, there's a lot of things that if you just adapt just a little bit, it makes everything so much
Yeah.
easier and just smoother, and even friendships and at work and road driving down the road, things like that. It has helped just mellow that kind of thing out, because I realized that, hey, a lot of what I made was a big deal to me when I was 18. Oh, somebody cut me off in traffic. It's not that big of a deal
Yeah.
anymore. It's not worth my time to worry about that when you got bigger things. So I would say my ability to just adapt to big things, little things, all that is probably the biggest strength that I'm most thankful for. That's for sure.
That's a great answer. And I'll tell you why I love it so much because it really resonates with me. My accident will be 6 years in July, and I have had a migraine headache for almost 6 years now. And my number one question that I
Oh,
get is people will say, how do you function with a migraine every day, all day? And I say, there comes a point when you sink or swim. If I cut my arm off, I would figure out a way to adapt and to use one arm. So that's always been my answer. So your answer really parallels what I always say.
Yeah, that's an excellent way to put that, for
Yeah.
sure.
So the other thing I was wanting to talk to you about is I looked at some of the videos, and I'm sure you probably have a lot more than what I've seen. But you do what you consider sit down comedy. Do you still do that? Or is that still an aspiration for you?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been a graphic designer by trade. That's my day job. And I've done that I started that just after I got paralyzed. And I love what I do. I love it. But I've always told people, dream big, go do what you want to do, and all this sort of stuff. And now with my kids, I want them to go out when they grow up and not be afraid to do things and follow what makes them happy. And I started making some social media videos just for fun several years back, and they kind of took off in a different way than I had anticipated. I made them not thinking much of them, and then although they're comedy, some of the stories that I was able to tell about my life and my journey, people started reaching out and they were saying, "Man, I really needed this today. I really appreciate the laugh. Oh, I can connect with this. Da da da. Thank you so much. I love this. I hope you make more." And I didn't expect that. And then I realized that feeling of just knowing that, to me, it's just telling
Yeah.
my story, but to tell my story or something like that can not only make people smile or laugh, but also just have an effect on people and
Yeah.
impact. I realized this is something that I want to pursue,
Mm-hmm.
So the obviously the end goal for anybody that has a goal or a dream is, to make it their career. And I would be lying if I said I don't want to wake up one day and that be my career. But I think the ultimate goal of it is, no matter where it goes, whether it's, my videos on social media, the going to the comedy clubs and being on stage. I've done some speaking and some storytelling and things like that. Whether that becomes a career or not, I think my ultimate goal is knowing that maybe I can impact someone out there that doesn't even have to be going through what I've gone through, just somebody that just needs a reason to keep going, just a reason to smile, to laugh. Um, that's the ultimate goal with it. And like I say, obviously if it somehow becomes a career out of it, that's perfectly great. That's great. I'd love that. But we'll see where it
Yeah.
goes.
Well, I really hope it does turn into a career for you because you really have a way with words, and you're very inspiring. And the comedy is what inspires people. I mean, I do a little thing on TikTok called Weatherman Rob. I could probably do that and have billions of followers, but that's not what I feel I was called to do. I do what I'm doing to help lift other people up, to share other people's stories, to inspire people so they know that there's brighter days ahead. Life's not over just because you have an accident. So yeah, keep it up, keep it up. And maybe one day when you become big and famous, you'll remember Rob.
Oh, well, we'll do it all together. We'll put Weatherman Rob on
There
stage
you
with me. There
go.
we go.
one of the, one of the
Yeah.
videos I did that you'd probably find the humor in is I had the water hose over the window, and I said, "Mrs. Weatherman wants me to cut grass today, but I don't feel like it." So I told her I was it was raining.
I like it. I like it. I might use that one too. I like it. My wife literally just told me today, she said, "Hey, we're going to put you on the mower. You got to mow the yard." And I said, "Oh, that was one of the things I was looking forward to with being paralyzed, not having to mow again. And now you're out here trying to put me on a riding lawnmower to mow." No, no, no. That's not me. That's not what
that
I want to do.
that wasn't in the deal. You get out the book.
No, that wasn't,
Where
that
was
wasn't
that?
in the
Where
deal at
was that in
all.
the vows? I don't remember that
Yes,
part.
exactly. Yes.
What do you? What? How do you bring
Uh,
people down when they are how do I want to phrase this? For me, people will come up to me and they'll say things that they don't think is insensitive. Things like, "Oh, you look great. You must be better." Stuff like that. Or, "Oh, I forget too." Like, because I have a very short-term memory. And that just goes through me when people say that, because yeah, you might forget your keys every once in a while. This is my life. What's something that people say to you that you're
Yep.
like, why did you say that? Or how are you that stupid?
That is a tough question for me. It's one of those things that um I would say probably one of the wildest that I've ever gotten was I was at a dirt bike race after my accident and hanging out with some friends and whatever, and a lady came up and she was talking to me and she said, "Oh," she said, I can't imagine, your accident and all that." And she said, "My husband went through something very similar." And I said, "Oh, wow, I'm really sorry to hear that. Is he okay?" And she said, "Yeah, he almost broke his collarbone when he wrecked." And I said, "He what? He almost broke his collarbone?" I mean, that's pretty close to breaking your back and getting paralyzed, but and it caught me so off guard, but it skipped the mad phase. I was like, this is so wild that she just said that to me that I almost started laughing. I had to kind of catch myself, and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's pretty rough. Almost didn't break the collarbone, just almost. That's a rough one.
That is so funny.
And how if you almost broke your collarbone or not, I don't know.
Right. It's just like, well, I almost ran into the door. I could have died.
Yeah, yes. Yes. No, for the I get a lot of people and I 110% get it. There's a lot of people in wheelchairs that they're very independent. And I made a video about this, and it's a comedy video. It's meant to be funny, but at the same time it's serious too. Uh, and they don't want help, and they don't want people asking questions and things like that. And kind of the point that I've gotten to is, in my situation, rather than upset myself or upset them or whatever, I've learned that most people, 99.9% of the time, whatever comes out of their mouth is with good intention
Yeah.
in their mind, because they've never been in my situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I take it all kind of with a grain of salt. And if they can help me, and it's not super awkward or weird, or they can ask whatever and I can answer it and just make them feel good and whatever. And I do my best to kind of do that. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a few things, like you say, that people say that you're like, yeah. But for the most part, I just try to remember that at one time I could have very well been that person that ran up behind somebody in a wheelchair and been like, "Hey, let me help you up the curb." Um,
Yeah.
so I kind of try to take it best I can.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I've always been kind of a lazy person. So when it comes to helping me in a wheelchair, I'm all for it. You want to help me? That's great. Let's do it.
I have to agree with you. I really feel that a lot of people are trying to be empathetic with you. And some of the people are just trying to say, hey, I have bad days too. But just like the lady that her husband's almost broke his collarbone, it's apples and oranges.
Yes, yes. She had good intentions. She was trying to make me feel better. I keep telling myself that. I just keep telling myself she was trying to make me feel better. But yeah, you just gotta laugh at them and just laugh at the whole situation. It keeps life's too short not to laugh and smile.
I
That's for sure.
agree. I could not agree more with that. So if someone feels their life is broken right now, what would you tell them? How would you encourage them?
No, in my opinion, that no life is ever truly broken. Your paths may change, your direction, your whatever may change, but as I heard quoted one time, you can always connect all the dots looking back, but looking forward is the scary part. And it's you think this is the end, but at the same time, you can drive across the entire country with just your headlights on at night only, and you can only see 25 feet ahead of you. So you can travel thousands of miles into a whole new destination and start a whole new life by the guiding light of 25 feet of headlights. So yes, in certain moments, it's totally understandable. And I think that's the other thing. I think too many people say it's not okay to feel that way. And I don't believe that. I think it's okay to feel like, this is terrible. My life couldn't be any worse. It's broken. It's okay to have those feelings. I think the thing that I encourage people is to just realize that you can feel that, but also at the same time realize it's not the end, and it's not, things will get better,
Yeah.
you know. And the kind of the um again, not funny, but funny side of me has told people in the past, I mean, if you really think this is the worst, it can only go up from here. So I mean, there's nowhere but up, so that's how I try to look at it, best I can. And um yeah, I think and I really encourage people to not make a joke out of things. That's not what I mean. To just remember to laugh at themselves and laugh at situations, because laughter doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't fix things. It doesn't necessarily heal things, but it just makes the whole process of going through it easier to cope with, to learn from, and to move on
Mhm.
with. Um, I mean, I've had some really, what a lot of people would think are really embarrassing moments, in my life that uh could have really crushed me. I mean, I was on stage in front of how many ever people, and in a silent audience. I have an ostomy bag, part of the whole bathroom situation we were talking about earlier. And in a silent audience, in the deepest moment of what it was supposed to be a motivational speech, I farted for 30 seconds straight. And you want to talk about embarrassing? That was embarrassing, but but in hindsight, it makes for a incredible story to tell later, and the crowd thought it was probably better than the speech. I mean, that was perfect. So it's just, like like I say, it's um just don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up, and just remember, things will get
That's
better.
awesome. I could have said it better myself. One thing I tell people is it's okay to get down on yourself. It's not okay to stay there.
Yes, 100, that's
We
exactly it.
basically said the same thing.
100%. Yes, yes, yes. And I know through my journey, I have had, whether it be family or friends, I've had so much different support and things like that, that some of it I have asked for, some has just come to me and things like that. But it's also, it's okay to ask for help,
Yeah.
and when I say that, I don't necessarily mean even deep help, or things like that. Just, it's okay to just turn to a friend or a family member and just say, man, I'm really struggling, let's go get some dinner or whatever. I just want to talk, just vent, and just doing little things like that for yourself, and it can make a big difference.
Yeah. Too many people won't ask for help, and that's so
Yes,
discouraging.
yes,
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you a question that
yes,
I bet
yes.
you've been asked before. Have you ever considered writing a book?
I have been asked that before, and I have told myself for a very, very long time that, man, I really want to write a book. I just remember, we go back to that lazy thing I was talking about, where people help push me in a wheelchair and I'm okay with it. I can't, I gotta sit down, and I'm always sitting down, but I gotta get the motivation to just do it. And um I need to do it. I haven't done it, but I need to do it. And to me, um my wife tries to kind of remind me of this, but to me, I say to myself, why would somebody want to read a book about a kid from the backwoods that rode a dirt bike and now he's trying to be funny on stage? Why would anybody want to read a book about that? And she reminds me there's more to the story than just that, and
Yes.
um so I Yeah.
I agree.
So I think sometimes I do, I have to realize that.
Well, one thing that I love, I have always enjoyed reading, and you give me a good book, and in a day it's read. And that's one thing that the brain injury stole from me, was my ability to sit down and read a book in a day. After my injury, it was 3 years before I read again. And the reason I started reading again was because I interviewed a lady who's now my best friend. And she said, Rob, are you going to write a book? I was like, I'd love to, but who has time for all that? And she pushed me. She's like, you have got to share your story with people. So it took me a year, almost 2 years, but that's the book. And if you ever decide you want to write your book, I have the publisher that will guide you along the way, and I guarantee she will make the process so much that you will enjoy sitting down writing.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, absolutely. See, I'm learning so much about you as well. So you have a book as
Yeah.
well.
I never thought I could sit down and write a book.
Well,
if I can do it, you can do it.
okay. I've got a whole list of things now. I gotta go find you on TikTok. We gotta add you on TikTok. Now I gotta go get your book. This is inspiring me. This has been a good podcast. I like these podcasts.
Hey, maybe we'll have to do a side podcast where we do one inspiring everybody. The Inspiring Podcast.
There you go. That's right.
Oh gosh. Well, guys, I want to give you a chance to, whatever's on your heart, to just tell the audience where they can find you. I know you have like almost 8,000 followers on Facebook. Didn't know you were on TikTok, but I'm going to be looking you up on TikTok. Tell everybody where they can find you and whatever closing message you'd like to give them.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, join me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All the usernames are the same. It's at Mike Garrison 247, which that was my old racing number, was 247. So it's at Mike Garrison 247. Like I say, I try to post something at least once or twice a week throughout Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I'm working on trying to kind of figure out, excuse me. Right now I try to do some, local comedy things like that, and trying to kind of move to some bigger stages of the comedy scene and the storytelling and the motivational speaking and things like that. So yeah, I would love to have anybody, follow along and join me on this journey. And the other thing is too, I don't always have the answers to everything, but I'm always open to anybody reaching out for anything, whether it's paralyzed or not, or wheelchairs, or just anything, whatever. I'm always open. Shoot me a message, whatever. Always willing to talk and just BS with whoever, and hopefully make somebody smile and have a day. That's the goal anyway. But yeah, I think my main message would be, there's a lot of crazy, and there's a lot of in the world and in our lives every day, but anything is possible. It's up to you to prove it, and I truly believe that. And I think whether that's big or small, I think you can do it. You just gotta do it.
Great message, Mike. And you forgot one thing: future author.
That's right. Future author. That's right. We got to get together on that. Yeah. That's for sure. I like this idea.
Yeah, I'll be your biggest cheerleader. I promise.
That's perfect.
But you have to promise me one thing: if you ever do a speaking engagement in Louisville, Kentucky, or Southern Indiana, I want front row seats.
Deal. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, guys, Mike Garrison, make sure you follow him. I'll link all of his social media in the comments so that you can easily find him. Thank you so much, Mike, for being here. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This has been awesome, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yes. Always. The door is always open.
Love it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Guys, it's been great. See you guys next week. This has been Life Rewired.
This is me, my life rewired.